Chapter 1 covered what a PPP is and when to use one. But no government does this project by project, from scratch, every time. Before the first PPP deal ever gets signed, there's something that has to exist first: a framework. This lesson is about what that framework actually contains. A PPP framework has 3 parts. First, a PPP policy, a public statement of why the government uses PPPs and for what kinds of projects. Second, a legal and regulatory basis, the actual law that lets the government sign long-term contracts, allocate risk to private parties, and gives those contracts enforceability. Third, institutional arrangements, the specific bodies responsible for preparing, approving, and overseeing PPP projects. Here's why this matters in practice. Without a framework, every PPP gets negotiated from a blank page, different risk allocation, different contract terms, different standards, deal by deal. That inconsistency makes projects harder to appraise, harder to compare, and easier to structure badly under pressure to close. A framework doesn't guarantee a good deal, but it means every deal starts from the same rules. Most frameworks include a dedicated PPP unit. Its job isn't to approve or reject projects on its own. It's technical support for the ministries actually running projects, quality control on the appraisal and contract work before it goes further, and capacity building, since most line ministries don't do PPPs often enough to build deep in-house expertise. Some units also act as a gatekeeper at key approval stages. More on that next lesson. If you remember one thing from this lesson, make it this: the framework isn't paperwork sitting in front of the real work. It's what keeps one bad deal from becoming the template for the next 50. Weak frameworks are exactly why some countries have a handful of well-run PPPs and a long list of renegotiated, disputed, or canceled ones. Picture it as a foundation, not a checklist. Policy sets the intent. Law makes it enforceable. Institutions carry it out. Only once those 3 are in place does an individual PPP project, the kind we covered in Chapter 1, actually get identified, screened, and appraised. Chapter 3 picks up exactly there. Quick recap. A PPP framework has 3 parts: policy, legal and regulatory basis, and institutional arrangements. A PPP unit provides technical support, quality control, and capacity building, and the framework exists to make PPP deals consistent and comparable, not to slow things down. Next lesson: who's actually responsible for what and how fiscal risk gets watched along the way. That's Chapter 2, Lesson 1. Subscribe to follow the rest of the course.